Hello, welcome. I'm going to be talking today about the new moon in Scorpio and what to look at when you want to set intentions for this new moon in Scorpio, and also the fact that this is the last new moon. And then in the middle of November, we have the last full moon before Pluto leaves Capricorn and enters Aquarius. So this is very powerful energy. And what I wanted to do was basically discuss and then break it into each sign what Scorpio means and what Capricorn means and what house that falls in for each sign. So that can show you where you're shedding your skin with this Capricorn energy and what you're moving to when you go into Aquarius, and also what you want to intend for this very positive, strong energy of the Mars opposite Pluto in a kite formation, which has a grand water trine in it that includes Saturn as some of the energies for long lasting wishes to come true, right? Or intentions, however you want to phrase that. So first of all, I want to look, I'll share here the screen of, there we go. This is the new moon energy. And what is happening here is that we have, let me actually move this a little bit. Okay, so you can see me and it. This is Scorpio. This is Scorpio energy. And Scorpio is about secrets, politics, psychology, sex appeal, charisma, deep emotion. It's also about being very loyal and having deep emotion when it comes to other people. Can also, being a person that's very solid, but it also can be having maybe obsessions or compulsions. You have both the positive and negative of each sign, each planet, each house. So it's very living on the edge kind of energy with Scorpio. And you've got to remember, Mars and Pluto are co-rulers. Mars is the ancient, traditional ruler of Scorpio. And Pluto is the more common modern day ruler. But both of them are about power and energy and force. So Scorpio is very good versus evil kind of energy. If you know somebody that's a Scorpio, you'll kind of get that energy. Are you a good witch or are you a bad witch? It's especially with this holiday theme going on now. The depth of character, deep emotional connections, soulmates, and also it also rules partnerships with loans, taxes, debts, wills, inheritances, contracts, and business. And I want to also say with Scorpio and also some of the things that happen in the eighth house, those kind of cover the same areas, right, in that particular section. It can also be things that you inherit from your family, such as natural talents, curly hair, blue eyes, or a family chromosome. Any of those things can be also in that eighth house Scorpio kind of energy. Also, it has to do with revenge, jealousy, destructive tendencies, abandonment, suspicion, guilt. You're going to have a lot of emotions, deep emotions, when you're dealing with anything with Scorpio. And I know that it also covers, I wanted to mention the areas of the body: the rectum, colon, bladder, anything that would take toxins away from the body, menstruation, sexual diseases, because it's very related to sex, sexual organs, male and female. So when you're looking at something that you might want to be intending, you could, I have Scorpio as a sixth house thing. So anything related to setting intentions in that health area of my life might be getting in better practices so that I feel better about what I'm eating, or, you know, if anybody is having like menopause symptoms and how to finding the right treatment so that you can feel back to normal. Those are also intentions that you can set with the physical body. So that is various kinds of Scorpio energy, and it has both positive and negative aspects to it. And I also want to touch on the energy of Capricorn. Capricorn energy is very much about time, retirement, old age, self-discipline, adult behavior. It can also symbolize the father axis in the chart, your public image, your ambition, professions. Capricorn is also about hard work. Any planet that is going through Capricorn is there to work. That's what I tell everybody. If you're having a transit through the Capricorn section of your chart, that planet is there to get some work done for you. It's also about social status, recognition, delegating, being in charge, getting respect. Also can symbolize your bosses, again, the father, traditional values, traditional ways of doing things. It can symbolize corporations, governments, depending on what kind of, if you're doing mundane astrology, it can represent countries as well. And it also rules excessive control, like lack of joy, fear of trying something new, inflexibility. The rules are the rules. And I don't have to tell you why I make the rules. That kind of, because I am who I am, self-justification. And the area of the bodies that it rules is the bones, joints, arthritis, rheumatism, gallbladder, gallstones, knees, skin. So very much platform type energies, I think, that are long standing. And a lot of that is changing with Pluto entering Aquarius, because Pluto, when it first entered Capricorn, that's when we had the financial crisis. That's when we had the housing things come up. There were a lot of changes that took place, and a lot of things that needed to change and needed to be revamped. And it's now at the very end, at that 29th degree, in an opposition to Mars, about things needing to be torn down that aren't working. That's very much Capricorn energy. That is very much Pluto energy. That the traditions that we've been following, if they're not working, need to be changed. And I think that applies with different government things. I will call this, we're storming the castle, but we're not getting rid of the castle. We are showing up at the castle going, you know, this is better than my place. And a lot of people could live here, and we could work together, and we could have shelter for everyone, and, you know, share responsibilities, but we'd be in a safer environment, and we could all work together. That's a very Aquarius energy. So you're moving from a storm the castle kind of energy, and yeah, we're done with the king and queen thing, or there's only one person in charge. We're not into that. We're changing it. And then working through that process. Aquarius will be us working through that process of figuring out, okay, this is a maze. This is a labyrinth. We're working our way through, because we're creating something brand new. This is going to be completely different. Well, 90% different, because it's still going to have some form of structure, but the rules are going to change, or the lack of rules. So I think you need to bear that in mind as we're looking at this, all these different energies. So now I'm going to do a little cheating here, I've written down each sign, and I'm going to cover what houses those are for that particular sign that is going to be utilized. So let me just pop this up here a second. What you see is we're going to look, first of all, at Aries, the sign Aries. If you have Aries, Scorpio would be your 8th house, and Capricorn would be your 10th house. So what would that mean? Well, let me show you. I will click here and get back to here, make sure I have everything. Okay, so I'm going to need to stop screen sharing and change it to a different one. I can do that. It won't take me but a second. Okay. There. Good. Okay, so we're looking right now at the 8th and the 9th houses. So I'm going to just move that up a little bit. I'm sorry, the 8th and the 10th. Yeah, the 8th and the 10th house. So for Aries, with the 8th and the 10th house, you're looking at the house of transformation, shared resources, closely bonded relationships, intimacy, sexuality, deep psyche, taboo subjects. A lot of times, this is also the house of shared resources with your spouse. And this can also be what goes on behind closed doors. So we can also talk about death, inheritance, taxes, debts, other people's money, occult subjects, shamanic realms, and underlying reality. So quite a different blend of those things in the 8th house. And what does that mean for you? You can set your intentions for utilizing anything in that 8th house energy-wise. Can you set an intention for managing your finances, or getting a loan, or paying off debt? Those things would all be covered by the 8th house. When we go to the 10th house, which is where, right here, which is where Capricorn is for you, that would be the house of career, of mission, what you are known for and what you are doing out in the world. One of the very visible houses, one of the parents' life goals. I believe this would represent possibly the father energy. I don't have that happen a lot in the readings that I have. I look at it on the axis if it happens to be the 10th versus the 4th house, because that's the parental axis. So I look at it that way. And your work versus your home life is also that axis. So what's going on with Capricorn for you? What is going to be changing? Well, definitely your career, I would say. What you're known for out in the world. What is happening between all this establishment kind of energy with jobs, and we have AI coming in, and you're going to be then having maybe job changes. Your job is going to completely change, or your job won't exist anymore. And it will be something completely different that you're moving into. So you do have to, I think, set an intention for you to easily manifest what your next job will be, because they're all going to be changing in a very rapid manner over the next 3 to 6 years, incredibly fast. The people that are in high school now, their jobs, by the time they get out of college, all of that is going to be really changed as to what kind of work there is out there. And also us having more freedom and time to pursue our own personal interests, I believe. So that is the energy that you take with that 10th house energy. Now, this is also the skin that you're going to be shedding, I would say. Who who you thought you were in the world or who others thought you were in the world is going to change. And so you're going to be taking on a new identity in that sense. Because Pluto is about transformation. And Pluto has done all of its work in Capricorn and will leave it on November 19th. So what does that mean to you? No more rules? You don't want to be in a career that has rules or Big Brother? That's very much that energy. Very much that energy. So let's move on. We're going to take a look at Taurus. Now, Taurus would be the 7th house and the 9th house. So let's just adjust this slightly. The 7th house and the 9th house. The 7th house, house of partnerships. That would be your Scorpio energy. Close relationships, marriage, what you attract, disowned relationships, what you see in others, which it may be something that is actually part of you, how you compromise yourself for others, patterns in relationships. What kind of partner are you attracted to? Now, if you have Scorpio in your 7th house, I'm thinking you kind of like that whole intense bad boy image. It's also about open enemies, because where the 1st house is yourself, the 7th house is the other person, whether it's a friend or a foe, whether it's a partner or a partnership. And it's for one-on-one clients. If you're doing client work, if you're an interior decorator, if you're an astrologer, that would be the energy of what you have for that one-on-one client relationship. So that is important to realize, and how you want to set that going forward. I want to set the intention for working well with my partner, or working, finding a new partnership that helps me. And when you move to the Capricorn 9th house for what is going on in that area of your chart, you would say, what old rules has Pluto changed for me as it moved through that 9th house of education, the old way of going and getting an education, and what my beliefs were, philosophy. It also is astrology. It also is travel, long distance travel, especially foreign travel and foreign things. So did you have a regimented idea of what those things should be? Where you wanted to go? Oh, I only want to go to Mexico if I get a all-inclusive resort. That's only what I want. I don't want anything else. There's different ways of looking at that energy. Or I want to go over to Europe, but I only want to go to places that are like centrally located, and I can, easily go from one to another. I might want to go, be part of a tour, so I don't have to, I have my day planned. That kind of energy. That may be what you like when you're a Capricorn. I'm an Aquarius 9th house, so I'm like, it's all available. It's all available, all adventure. So how is that changing? What skin are you shedding in that area? Very much could be what your beliefs have been for a long, long time. Maybe the traditional church values have been changing for you, and maybe you don't agree with everything that the church has been telling people for a long time. I really do think, though, that the value of the community of the church is an amazing asset for any community, because that sense of having a purpose and doing things for the right reason and unselfishly, I think that is an amazing thing that organized religion can do. But we can also organize, I think we should utilize that, plus other ways that we can organize things. So moving into that more less strict interpretation of things. So that would be for the Taurus energy. Now for Gemini energy. Scorpio is the 6th house. And it being health, it can be something to do with addictions. It can be something to do with bodily functions, especially any of the bowel regimens or anything like that. If you're not eating properly and you have that in your 6th house Scorpio, you could have a problem with colon cancer, right? I also have that as a family history. So it's something that you need to be aware of when you're talking about anything that happens to be in your 6th house and anything transiting through that 6th house, because that will affect you. I happen to have Neptune natally in that house. And one of the things that I will say is when the first couple astrologers I had ever look at my chart, they're like, do you have any addiction issues? Because, Neptune and the possibility of poisons or things not good for you or too much of a good thing. Do you have any addiction issues? And alcoholism runs in my family. So that can be something, because it's the 6th house. It's the day-to-day things, the intensity of what you can bring to the day-to-day things, right? Do you get really intense about certain aspects of your life, right? What is your habit? People that have this can also, because it's very Mars, so maybe you are loving working out, loving athletics. For me, I have Neptune there. Neptune can also be about music and the arts. So Zumba instructor right here. So that's how I turned what could have been an addiction into something different in my chart. And I happen to have, that's where my grand water trine is affected. So I also happen, being that it was Mercury and Neptune and Jupiter, it was me teaching that energy of enjoying the dance, right? So there's different ways, higher and lower vibrations for this. So what about the 8th house, Capricorn? Power struggles. And because I also have an opposition to my sun from Capricorn in the 8th house of shared finances, I went through a divorce in the last part of that because my sun is in the last part of Cancer. So I had an opposition going on with other things in my chart. There was a lot of other things that told that story. But that 8th house is about things that go on behind closed doors, the more secret things. Scorpio is about secrets. They have deep secrets and they like to research secrets. And Gemini ascendants also like to research. So it's just like, okay, the deep, interesting things that might be occult might be very interesting for me. Astrology, tarot, oracle cards. There's people who have jobs that are related to other people's money. They could be accountants, right? So you have all of that energy. And in the 8th house, having Capricorn there is changing out of what would have been a traditional view of things. Like we had talked about before with the other house, the fact that it could be an established thing. It's always been done this way. You always have, you have to go to a banker to get a loan. And this is the paperwork that you have to do, those things. And maybe we will do more like the Amish do, where they all kind of get together and they're all part of a community and somebody needs something done. So, okay, today we're going to go over there and knock that out as a group, make a party out of it, and then go about our lives, and then eventually have our time for others to help us when we need it. But when you're part of a community, you help each other out in different ways. Maybe if you help them build a barn, well, that barn could also be used to store food, store animals, um, be used as a group functioning place at times. So there is a give and take of energy that's going to take place now. We have Pluto moving out of that energy. And I think it's not going to be all that power. Again, the banking stuff for me is going to change quite a bit. So that is that energy of what is shedding, what skin are you shedding in that area? Maybe not being so caught up in how it's always been done, right? In that area of your chart, or having a different kind of relationship. The next time you get into a relationship, maybe your relationship is more about fairness, cooperation, still being busy and doing things, but changing that up a little bit where there's not so much a power issue involved in it. So let's say we want to go to Leo. So where's Scorpio for Leo? It's in the 4th house. So let's just adjust this a little bit here. Okay. So we have the 4th house is about the house of home. It's your most personal place in the chart. It's your ancestors. It's your personal property. Very private. It's also your basis of security. So if Scorpio is in that area of the chart, I will say that when I see somebody that has Scorpio in their 4th house, one of the first things I realized is that there were a lot of secrets in that home, in one form or another. And that's just Scorpio energy. It's about not everybody, and being that it's also the 4th house, so private. This would be an extremely private person about what's going on in their home life. And you might not have any idea. The person at work may be completely different than the person who's at home. And you might not ever know what their home looks like because they keep those things separated, right? They want that privacy to themselves. So that is the 4th house for Scorpio. So what can you do to set intentions for that area of your chart? Is there anything that you want to make an addition to in your home, or additional property? Or maybe you want to really do some digging into your family history. Doing anything to improve your home for your own personal aesthetic. Like, I really want to change the environment. I really want to change how I decorate things. I want to make it more me, or maybe redo your kitchen, or something that is going to make it more you personally. So, and being that you're a Leo energy, being very interested in, maybe you like to have parties or something to that effect, but there's something about your home that there's going to be an area of your home that's off limit to guests is what I will say. That's what it feels like to me. So then you would have Capricorn in your 6th house. Oops, I skipped Cancer. I'll hit you back, Cancer, don't worry. So we have that's the energy of what do you do every day. This would be someone who has a time schedule, right? They work hard, very hard worker. They get a lot accomplished, and they kind of have an organization to their life. Again, anything that goes through Capricorn, if you have any transiting things going through Capricorn, you're usually getting a lot of things done in your home life. And that area of your chart, again, because it's the 6th house, you could have had issues with bones or issues or your teeth that you need to take care of in that 6th house energy. But what are you shedding? What do you need to shed? Probably the feeling of having to have control, tight control over that area, that your everyday life has to have really tight control over it. Because Pluto is very much about control. So what do you want to do? I would say move on towards allowing more open time in your day, time for creativity. And it's also about working with others, that sixth house, being more, asking to be more empathetic for that particular house would be perfect. Be more empathetic towards the people that you work with. Because you can be a bit judgy about people you feel that they should have a certain work type function, work ethic, of course. But what are you going to change? What are you going to do with that? So I want to run back to Cancer here a second. Cancer, this would be Scorpio's your fifth house. Really interesting thing. So creative. But with the fifth house, again, I would say, what is your joy? The problem is that Scorpio feels things to such a deep level that the poets aren't able to express it in words, which is really hard. But what it could be is that you're the writer, right? That ability. Maybe you have some really strong Mercury in your chart, and writing is something that you can do very well. There's children's book writer that has very strong things in the fifth house. It's also about your children. Cancer is very about that as well. What can you set for intentions? Well, I can set intentions for, I want to enjoy myself more. What can I do that would set the intentions for me having more fun, me creating a project, me writing a book? That's that fifth house, the joy energy, the joy factor, your inner child. What are you passionate about? So creativity, self-expression, the art that you produce. Maybe just even bringing out your own artistic side more as an intention. So what are you shedding in that Capricorn area of your chart? Capricorn is the seventh house. Boy, those controlling father issues in that area of your chart. Ouch. You do like someone that's kind of in control, not going to lie. You probably like someone who you feel can take care of you, and a Capricorn can do that. But do not give away all your authority to that very strong personality that's going to be on the other side. And because Pluto was there, way too controlling about what was going on in the relationship. And that's going to change. That is going to change for you, shedding that need to have somebody else make the final decisions. They're both cardinal signs, but Cancer has a tendency to, like Libra and Virgo, go along to get along, which is not good, because then they're stifling their own personal choices, which is never a good thing. Personal choice is one of our first gifts we get from the universe, is the right to make our own decisions, free will. So I would say that having more fun in your own way and in your own, you don't have to have somebody else there, right? In order to have a good time, give me a good book and a fireplace and, a glass of something warm to drink. And that's a good evening, right? So let's take a look, because I had already hit Leo. Let's go on to Virgo. So the Virgo energy, the third house is your Scorpio. Communication. learning, especially early childhood learning or learning something brand new. This could be when this gets activated, maybe you're just learning astrology or tarot or something. Extended family or people that feel like they're family. Like, say you have a friend that's more of a sister to you. That might be where they show up in your chart. Community, automobiles, short distance travel, your voice, how you think, how you talk, your own small business. It's very much a community, local energy, and it changes a lot. Your third house is always constantly changing. I will say that it's a very, and there's so many little variations of what that can be. I'll, sometimes you will have an activation there and it's all about your sibling that year. They're getting married. And so you have a very strong thing going on in your third house because you're very involved in the wedding. Okay. But then another time you might have an activation in that house and it's all about how you communicate, or you're starting your own small business. And you can then set intentions with regard to that. So Virgo, that would make Capricorn your fifth house. Again, that's about creativity, romance, self-expression, and be less rigid. With Capricorn there and Pluto leaving that area, you're getting rid of a lot of control issues over that fifth house for yourself. Love who you want to love. Your children are your children, but how much are you trying to exert your control over your adult children? That could very much be Capricorn in the fifth house. And with Pluto having been there, maybe they're just getting out of high school and now you have to go, okay, they're going on to college and I have to let loose of some of these reins that I've been holding so tight, right? Shorten up the chain to the home and let them have an opportunity to experience the outside world with your faith and trust, and knowing that they have you as that rock to come back to, that Capricorn solid energy. And that's how I think you can change your skin, is putting more fun into that house and less control, especially with regard to children. So that would be Virgo energy. Now, for Libra, your house would be, I'm just going to adjust this slightly. Scorpio would be your second house, right? So with the second house, it's about finances, how you make money, Scorpio. What your values are, material possessions, self-worth, relationship to the body and natural world. This is also self-confidence. So how does that come out with intentions that you can set for that second house if you're a Libra? Okay, I want to start a new health regimen because it can also symbolize your body. One of the things that has been coming up is the second house is also about your resources, not just strictly about money and not just simply about your self-esteem, but say your ability to do something, your ability to maybe interpret a language. That is a valuable skill. That's a resource. I think that is something that you can utilize. And so how can I best utilize my resources, right? How can I best utilize my money? I will say Scorpio would have a tendency to be a gambler in the second house, taking risks. And Taurus being your eighth house would be like, okay, that would be the more, I want to invest in a safe manner in the stock market. That would be Taurus in the eighth house. So what skin are you shedding with Capricorn in your fourth house? Well, I would say Capricorn in the fourth house usually speaks to me of the person having to grow up really quickly and be the adult in the home, right? So, and that control issue of what was maybe controlling you in the home, the fourth house, maybe you had a very strong, it could be either parent that had a very strong control issue in that house, especially with Pluto being there. So, what can you do to shed that skin? I would say inner child work, play more, enjoy your home more, make your home a safe place, but make it more about fun and joy. Um, People with this in their fourth house also would have Cancer in their 10th house of career. And I've seen a lot of people in very caring type jobs where they're a nurse, or some kind of caretaker naturally for their family. But you don't want to get caught in being used in that sense of your whole life has been about doing something in the care of other people and not living your own life and your own journey and your own path. There's nothing wrong with helping other people, but you also have to have your own path and fun and joy, because that's the only way that you're going to be able to create and manifest is from a joyful place of abundance. To get abundance, you have to feel abundance. So lose some of the control or get rid of some of those control issues. We will be having a lot of this come up for you through the end of the year. Family gatherings are going to be fraught with some potential difficulty. So let's go ahead and take a look at what this would be for Scorpio. Scorpio being your first house. Scorpio in the first house could be someone who's very sexy and mysterious. It's this house of self-appearance, physical body, your personal identity, how others initially get the impression of you, your early abilities. And because this is your first house, Mars would be your natal ruler in traditional astrology. So what is it about yourself that you want to manifest in a different way? Maybe it's your control issues. Maybe it's about how you want to physically appear to people. Okay, you want to work on setting a new regimen for yourself, right? Being that person who wants to use their Mars energy and move themselves physically, however that is, whether it's water or bicycling, walking, especially out in nature, swimming, any kind of physical activity is very good for someone that has this energy in the first house. They're also very much about secrets. So maybe that's something you can work on about being a little bit more open. You don't have to tell everybody everything, but you don't have to be a vault, as they say, where nothing escapes. No one knows anything about you. And it's hard to talk to you because they're like, I have no idea how to connect with this person. And it's not like you don't have feelings, because you do have very deep feelings. So what is this meaning for you for setting intentions would be about your personal self, your identity, what you want to do in the world, physical body. And then what would you be shedding? That would be third house things. What kind of control issues do you have? Do you have a sibling that wants to control you, or you feel that you're responsible for that person? You try and do a little bit of control in that direction, or small business, or communicating. How do you communicate with that Capricorn energy in that house? Are you much more matter of fact? I still think that there's a lot of control issues, and I suspect this around family, pretty much. Because Capricorn, if you have a business, but maybe you need to be a better boss if you have a small business. Maybe you're just too regimented and people are so afraid of making the slightest error or mistake or not doing something that you wanted it done a certain way. And with Pluto having been there, oh my goodness, that could be really, really tough energy. So let's take a look then about going into Sagittarius, the intentions for Sagittarius. So what would that be? All right, we're going to adjust this again. The house of subconscious, right? Dreaming, connection with source, transpersonal energy, creativity, intuition, mysticism, secluded spaces. I've had people have this activated when they've gone on retreats, where you go to be alone, hidden things, hidden enemies, psychological health, because the 6th house would be physical health, 12th house, psychological health, and they can connect. It's a very interesting house. And being that Scorpio is there, I would say you probably have a very interesting connection to the higher self, or it's something that you could do. It's also that, being that it's a place of mysticism. I've also had people who had very strong, it's funny, very strong energy in that house. And, if you have Scorpio there, I know people who, when we all were locked down with COVID, they loved it. Oh, I don't have to go to a physical place to work. I'm working from here and I can be by myself. That's very much that energy. I can be here and be by myself, and no one has to know my business. I can go to the bathroom when I want and don't have to ask anybody, right? I can take my lunch when I want. So there's that energy of being by yourself and having that seclusion. Now, I know people that are extroverts that went crazy, but there were some people that were like, wow, this is what I really want. I want to be able to have a job that works from home. And when it was time to go back, maybe they didn't want that. So what do you want to call in for yourself? What is it in that area of your chart? Creativity. Maybe you like to write a book, but you want to do it in private. Scorpio would always be something very, very much in that private area. And it can be something that would surprise other people. That 12th house energy. Could there be psychological issues? Yes. But that also is that higher and lower vibration of things. And then you look at other areas of the chart. So what would you want to do? Maybe you want to set an intention on going on a retreat, or going off to just be by yourself. Like, you know what? I really want to go to that apple orchard, and I don't really feel like I want to take anybody with me. I'm just going to go have some apple cider, pick up my own apples, and just enjoy myself by myself. That kind of energy. So that would be for your house that you're going to set intentions for. And what would be the 6th house Capricorn for you? Well, I think that would be, again, the second house of Capricorn this would be where it would be that finances, your personal self, your values, your self-worth, self-confidence. Setting, you could decide, okay, I want to maybe set up a budget for myself. Have less control. The skin that you shed may be, okay, I'm going to give myself, I know I have this very tight budget, it's very control oriented, but maybe I want to allow some extra money for fun things. I don't have fun built in. I don't have anything that builds up my own self-confidence. That can also be about the second house, your own personal resources. And maybe someone else was controlling that because you had Pluto there, that control in that house. And Capricorn and Pluto is extra control. Maybe you had a fund that you were using, and that's changing. The control of that is changing. So there's different things that you can shed. And so much of this is about power and control because it's that Capricorn energy that we're leaving. So we have to bring something new in, and that's going to be, freedom in that area. And then Pluto moving into the next house for us, which would be Aquarius, which is a different topic on a different day. So let's go on to Capricorn. Capricorn, Scorpio, the 11th house. I would say for you, that would very much be, it's the house of friendships, community groups, organizations, connections, networking, and luck. Social politics, your social group, people you choose to spend time with, your tribe, actually. What can you do about setting intentions for that? Maybe that you want to have really good friendships, close, deep friendships. Maybe those are the kind of friendships that you prefer as opposed to superficial friendships, right? You want to have more people that you trust, right? In that area of your friendships. And that's an intention that you can set. I don't mind going out and doing these things, but I'm a very private person. So I may go out and be involved in these organizations, but the people that are going to be my closest, there's going to be an inner circle maybe for you that is going to be, okay, I have a lot of people that I associate with and do things with and enjoy. But when it comes to sharing my own personal thing, I want a closer, more intimate network that I can feel I can bounce ideas off of and not feel self-conscious, right? So I can see that being a very, very good way to set an intention, or opening up your creativity in that area. Or maybe you like to act. Maybe that's part of this. You can bring your emotions to other people and they can see you on some kind of, it's also like the internet in that area of the chart. So, YouTube channel, doing your own thing, right? And what do you want to change as far as the Capricorn area of your chart? That would be being less regimented and in control. You can control your schedule too much. You can have maybe someone else that was controlling your schedule too much. You gave up that control to someone else. Capricorn is very hardworking. Maybe you're working too hard. Maybe you need to step back from that. And maybe Pluto leaving that area of your chart is going to allow you to just ease back on that control issue. So I think that there's a lot of different things that you can shed your skin with, but I feel you want to move towards more creativity and openness for yourself. And then, because Cancer would be your 7th house, being more open, taking that energy of what Cancer is and spreading that kind of energy to people, because you would like that kind of person. You would be attracted to that person that's like, oh, you're doing this, let me make you comfortable kind of energy, feeling, okay, you have a safe place, safe home, safe space. So I would say just easing up on the everything has to be your way. and you can't allow time for yourself for enjoyment. You would have, if you were an Aquarius, it would be the 10th house that you would have Scorpio. So an Aquarius and having Scorpio 10th house would be, I would say, something that's unusual, deep, hidden. You would make a great private investigator because you would be digging up secrets on other people as part of your profession, right? Researcher by all means in that area. And what could you set for your goal? Maybe you want to have a more spiritual business. That's a possibility. Maybe there's something that you've always wanted to learn that you want to delve into as part of your career. That could be an intention that you can set. And what would you set for your 12th house then, being your Capricorn area of your chart? Yeah, that's a lot of, that's also your dream place. And having Pluto in the Capricorn area of your chart, there's so many regimented things, which I'm sure you were fighting all along. You might have had psychological problems if there was too much control exerted over you. And you need to have, Aquarius needs freedom and space. So you would be more the seclusion area of that chart. So less power, more seclusion is shedding that skin of, okay, it doesn't have to look a certain way. Aquarius is pretty freewheeling, so I feel like you probably could pull that off. But, although Aquarius, I think this is why this is this way. I'm an Aquarius moon, so I understand this energy. Aquarius is about being for the communal energy, right? It's so super smart, genius level, sees the curves way ahead of time. There are a couple curves ahead of everybody else, right? And the thing is, they're happy to come in and create and do their thing. But at the end of the day, they're a hermit. Okay, happy to be here, happy to do this, but I want to go back to my cave because I need some downtime. You're all starting to get on my nerves. So that is very Aquarius energy. And I think they almost have that built-in need for seclusion there, right? So having something unusual in Scorpio and deep and interesting, that, again, a great researcher doing cutting edge stuff. So what about Pisces? Pisces has Scorpio in the 9th house. And I've heard it said that the 9th house can be, quote unquote, jobs at the temple, philosophy, what we're learning, higher education, foreign things, foreign travel, enjoying different, and going there to live in that energy. That would be a great intention for you as a Pisces, to set that energy like, you know what? I want to travel, but I don't want to do just the tourist stuff. I want to go and live amongst the natives and be a local and know the person that has the best bakery and the best barbecue or whatever it is in that community, and actually take some time to really deep dive into that community energy a little bit more. So that would be a great thing for Pisces to utilize for that energy of Scorpio in that particular house when you're setting intentions. And now the 11th house of Capricorn and Pluto being there is, your friendships, the way that you have been communicating out amongst people. I feel like maybe there is going to be less control over some of the ways that we can communicate with groups and organizations. Maybe they won't be as stringent of ways of communication because we'll have Pluto in a different area in the chart. So I think that is some of the skin that we're shedding with that, is like, okay, There's a certain way of doing things here in this Capricorn area with your friends, but shedding some of that regimented control, power issue, and don't let your friends control you, Pisces. There's also that could have been happening with Pluto in that area of your chart. Everybody should be defining themselves. That's where the power is, right? So those are the different areas of the chart to look at. I really feel that this was important to take a look at all those different things. Let me stop sharing. Yay, I'm back. I am back. Instead of listening to a voice off in the distance. But to me, it's very important that we had a look at each one of these signs and the houses that correlate with those. What intentions do you want to set? What are you shedding in that particular house? And you will probably know better than anybody else how you can change that area or how that area is going to change for you. But set your intentions. There's going to be a lot coming up. And it's going to be a lot of changes coming forward. Do I think it's going to be chaotic? Yeah. But the way to deal with that is every day focusing in on the moment of now and what you're doing in your personal life, in your personal space, in your personal relationships with other people. That's where we'll solve a lot of the world problems by doing just that. So thank you for watching, and I'm glad I finally got a chance to record this. I will talk to you soon. Bye.